Hello and welcome to another edition of the Peninsula Biz Buzz. My name is Shelley Smith. I'm here as a co-host and a chamber liaison for the Penn Sherm chapter, and then of course my own business, Premier Rapport. Bob, things are looking up really good today. What's going on?
Yes, Bob McKenna from the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, and today's episode we have with us one of my favorite people on the peninsula, and I consider him a friend, and one of his talented young leaders from his company. So it's Greg Garrett, CEO of Garrett Realty Partners, and Lindsay Pennington, who is managing broker for Garrett Realty Partners. And Lindsay is also the 2020 Virginia Peninsula Association of Realtors president. And once in the past, Lindsay was a sponsor for one of our events, and she stole my opening remarks. Accidentally, of course, but it was actually a nice moment, and I hope that we get to do it again sometime soon.
It was actually on purpose. I put her up to it, Bob.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what I suspected. But Lindsay, being the honest person she is, said no, it was completely an accident. So maybe she was covering for her boss.
If I would have thought, I would have put it up to her because she.
No, absolutely.
If I would have thought of it, I would have put her up to it for sure.
So the Peninsula Biz Buzz has been focused on COVID response for the past 3 or 4 weeks. We are pivoting towards optimism and positivity right now, and looking at recovery. And I had a great conversation with Greg the other day, and I said, hey, you need to be on the podcast. So Greg, tell us, how is business in the real estate world at the moment, and especially at Garrett Realty Partners?
Well, it's actually pretty amazing right now. Even though we did not really expect this to happen, we didn't. We started off, in early March when we started seeing things happening, in mid-March when things started shutting down, and we really made a commitment, and we came together as a leadership team, and we came together and said we're committed not to laying anybody off. We don't know what's coming, but we're committed to our people. Our company's a lot like a family. We have 135 of us. Everybody is providing income for their family, for their, paying their rent and, their car payments and taking school tuition, whatever, putting food on the table. And we said, we're committed to not laying anybody off. If it's any possible way that we can get through whatever's coming without laying anybody off, that's what we have to do. And the other thing we said, we're committed to taking care of people, because the consumers in Hampton Roads have made our company what it is, and the housing needs are still there. And just because there's a coronavirus, just because there are problems, just because there's medical issues, that doesn't mean people don't need housing. And really, we figured out that housing is a lot more important. We know this now, that housing and where we live is a lot more important than it's ever been, because we've gone through this period of a lot of people staying home for a very long period of time. And the only thing that we kind of wished for, we didn't know if it could happen, but we wished for, was if we can just break even, right? Forget about making money. If we can break even, keep paychecks on the table for our people, and service the people that need us, because a lot of people will delay their moves, but service the people that need us, the people that are in hotel rooms, the people that sold their house before the shutdown came, the people that have some crucial housing need and they still need to move. That will be a win-win. Paychecks on the table, we break even, hopefully, maybe, right, come close to it, and take care of our customers and our clients that are sent to us. What happened, though, was unprecedented. What happened was we actually almost broke the record for sales, for new sales written in the month of March, for any year in over 12 years. And then we broke the record in April, and we're tracking to possibly break the record set in April, coronavirus April. We're on track now to potentially break that in May. So that's crazy, unanticipated, unexpected, but that's what's happening. And this is in an environment where the National Association of Realtors is predicting that there'll be 40% less real estate sales in this quarter, this second quarter of 2020 over second quarter of 2019. And Freddie Mac, a big federal agency, is predicting 45% less sales. So part of this is the insulation we feel here in Hampton Roads, where we're not shut down like Michigan, like New York, like California, and we are considered essential services here in the real estate industry, because of our governor giving us the permission to continue moving forward and considered to be essential services.
Well, so Greg, I love the way that you kind of talked about the fact that you are providing an essential service and how homes, I mean, we're all spending 99% of our time at home these days, right? So home is more important than ever in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, one of the people that we helped is a lady that was 8 months pregnant, living in a bad neighborhood. And she, even though it was a bad neighborhood, she had to move. She was 8 months pregnant, and she said, "Get me in a safe place." Her mother called me. She said, "Get me in," and I've known her mother for years. She said, "Please help my daughter get in a safe place before this baby comes, before my grandson comes." And we were able to, make that happen. Well, if we were shut down, I don't know what she would have done. I don't know where she would have.
That's fantastic. That's really great. So I know one of the other concerns of all the businessmen who are still operating right now, the essential services, is the health and well-being of their employees. How has Garrett Realty Partners taken care of that? Because I know you have, and I know that's important to you.
Lindsay's been a real leader in that within our company. And so Lindsay, talk about some of those things that we have done that is unprecedented for us, that we've never even thought about before, and all these new protocols that we continue pushing out.
Sure. Yeah. So we stay very, very up to date with how we need to be conducting ourselves, obviously safely and in accordance with the executive orders that are out. So as far as in the office, constant cleaning. I mean, cleaning. We enacted a lot of really more flexible work policies than we've ever had with our salaried staff. So the minute that we knew this was coming down the pike, we made sure that everybody was going to be able to work remote if they needed to. The minute that school started shutting down, we made sure that everybody knew that we were here to support the parents that were then affected by this huge life-changing kind of thing that was going on with schools. We really wanted to make sure that our staff knew that their safety, was paramount. We distributed masks earlier in the month to anybody that, we encouraged, everybody to wear them when they felt comfortable doing that. Hand sanitizer everywhere. We, even blocked off an entrance so that we knew everybody that was coming in and out of the building to make sure that it wasn't getting too crowded and that everybody was appropriately social distancing. I mean, it has just been top of mind. Even the staff that elected to work in office, we've got boundaries so that agents can't get too close to them, but they can still effectively use their services and use them as resources. We just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that we wanted to continue allowing them to work if they felt comfortable and allowing them to work in an environment that they felt most safe in. And I think that was just huge for us. Especially, we've never really had an office dynamic that we did remote work as far as salaried staff is concerned. And it just took us 30 seconds to pivot to that and realize that's where we need to go. And that's exactly what we did.
We limited the number of people that would go in each conference room. We told our agents to don't put anybody in your car. Nobody gets in the car together to go out to lunch together. It's just those kinds of things that, I went on a couple of business organizations that I'm involved with. We had, text message networks between business owners, and I found one of my buddies there found gloves for us. Another one of my buddies found masks for us, and we were able to just work with other business owners to support each other and say, here's what we need.
Okay, so go ahead, Shelley.
I was just going to say, there's been so many, Lindsay, I actually, we're Facebook friends, so I see your posting and all the excitement, and it looks like you guys have really gotten creative in the virtual world as well with showing houses and conversations. And why don't you talk a little bit about that? And then also maybe, I know one of the things when we had folks knowing that you guys were going to come on, talking about the difference of the market, and Greg, you kind of started to talk about this, but the difference between the seller's market and the buyer's market, and kind of where are you with the inventory that can kind of help the continued economics behind this. So if you guys want to take a couple of those pieces as well.
Well, I'll take the tech side of it, if you don't mind, and then I'll pass it off to Greg to talk about the market. What we did was we immediately pivoted our training material to teach our agents how to effectively virtually show a house. Everybody got on Zoom right away. We were training on how to use Zoom, how to use virtual platforms. We wanted to make sure that our agents had a menu of services that they could provide to a client who was not comfortable meeting in person. Since we're still technically are allowed to meet in person, we know that some of our agents are not comfortable meeting in person, and we know some of the clientele isn't. So we just wanted to make sure that our agents were super empowered with lists of things that they just needed to pivot on. And a lot of that was even with showings, a lot of the times when we're doing showings, buyers, they may know exactly kind of what they're looking for in a house. And our agents could very easily virtually take them through homes and then eliminate some of that maybe unnecessary face-to-face with, and save that for the home they really wanted to see if they wanted it. We got, training on all of our electronic signature documents, just trying to make sure that the agents were really empowered that this is not a stop sign. This is just kind of a turn. It's just taking a turn. And I was so proud and impressed of all of our agents who were so willing to adapt so quickly and pivot so quickly, because it was necessary. It was so necessary. And like Greg said, there are people that could not wait. Not everybody looking for a house is HGTV, just looking to size up, or, just would prefer a bigger bathroom. There are people with jobs that they had to come, people that were in essential services that had jobs waiting, they had to move. So we just really tried to empower our people with things that they could do contactless, to get their people through that process until they really needed to be in person.
And I'm quite sure it will be go forward utilization as well of those things that they learned in tips to make it more.
And the feedback that we're getting is when you start kind of moving to that virtual platform, you're using your time so much more effectively than we were wasting a lot of time on things we didn't even know was a waste of time until we couldn't do them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd like to speak about Lindsay and her leadership and some of the others here. Of our 5 senior leadership members or leaders in our company, 3 of them are under 40 years old. So we're in an industry where a lot of the leading companies have an average age that's probably getting close to 60. Our average age is probably closer to 40. And 3, the majority of our leaders are under 40. And so these are, so Lindsay and Colin and Adam and others in the company, Megan, and doing our social media, they really have been incredibly effective at taking us places where, some of the folks that have been here for 30 or 40 years, would not have done. I mean, we have a gentleman here that's 90 years old. He's still working, right? But it's the younger leadership team that are the ones that have really taken us to these new places and just really helped to lead the others, which by and large are generally younger than a lot of the folks in our industry, to be able to make these changes. And it just happened fast and furious. And again, we had no idea that we were going to be setting records during this process. Especially the military is not even moving now. I mean, think about it. We're a military community, and the military is not moving. So that's going to have a huge impact.
That's going to open up soon. Yeah.
Yeah, we're selling a few houses for folks retiring from the military or getting out, but not people that are going through a normal transfer. We just sold a house for somebody that's in recruiting, and they were considered essential, and so they still had to move. But for the most part, this idea of buyer's market versus seller's market, it's relatively balanced, because this shutdown or the coronavirus, it's stopping people from buying, and it's stopping people or delaying people from selling. So it hasn't really created an imbalance in the market, and we really haven't seen a shift in pricing. Pricing has continued to be pretty solid. And there's still houses that are selling in the first week, and there's still houses that have been around for months that might be overpriced or a little rougher in the edges that still haven't sold. So it's generally a relatively balanced market, and we have not seen the shutdown of the coronavirus bring imbalance into the marketplace. Not here in 757. Cannot speak for San Francisco or anywhere else in the world. I talked to somebody in San Francisco yesterday, and it's a nightmare. But other places, it's not. A broker friend of mine called me from Detroit today. I have to call him back. But I mean, they're shut down. I mean, they're not doing anything.
So one of the things that you're both alluding to, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of the businesses who are now surviving and eventually will thrive again are the companies who are transforming very quickly, sometimes short-term transformations, and sometimes long-term transformations. Sometimes those short-term will go back to the way they used to be. But I think one of the things that this is doing for us is making us transform quicker to things that we were going to do anyway, but they were just going to take a long time. So Greg, talking about having a younger workforce, you've been working on that for a while, and you've been talking about working with young people to try to create the next generation of leaders in the Hampton Roads area. And you're doing very, very well at that. And your company's a great example of that. Lindsay, you were talking about how we're showing houses and how we're becoming more efficient. But Lindsay, can you just talk a little bit about some of those short-term transformations that you think will become long-term transformations and that you won't go back business as usual?
So I think we've kind of joked about it, but we meet as a leaders team quite often, and there's probably 10 of us. And one of the things that we've talked about as a leaders team is there's no reason for us to not be meeting on Zoom or virtual platforms moving out. We use our time more efficiently. We can share the data more efficiently. We can, do the meeting from anywhere that we're at. We don't have to worry about travel time, and we get a lot more accomplished meeting virtually. I think on our salaried staff side, we're realizing that people, certainly don't have to work within the bounds of the office anymore and get their job done. And we're finding that a lot of our staff is actually connecting more with the agents and the support side because it's so easy to just click on a Zoom. You're not relying on waiting for somebody to pass through the hallway. And the staff has given me feedback that they actually feel more connected to our agent population having moved to the virtual platform than the in-person platform. So I think things like that may change. We've changed our all company meetings, which generally can include 60 to 70 people, to Zoom. And we're looking at ways that we're going to continue offering that as an option as well as in person when we start coming together again, because we get more attendance. Things that maybe in an old mindset would say, well, we won't get as much attendance. We're actually seeing that we're getting more attendance and more engagement. So I would not be surprised at all as, moving forward that we really kind of, stick with a virtual platform as far as connections.
Okay, so that's great, and I agree. And I think it will be even greater when we can choose to do that and not have to do it, right?
Yes.
So
offering it as the option.
Yeah. So Shelley, over to you. I know we need to close. We're running short on time, but go ahead, Shelley.
Well, really, are there any, Greg, I think you were going to say something. I just want to make sure, is there anything that the viewers and listeners need to know that we've not asked you? Any tidbits on the real estate market itself? Any additional things on obviously managing the talent pipeline, which you are doing so incredibly well, that we haven't asked you?
For tremendous opportunities in the real estate business. I mean, when you think about if you're in a business that you have been determined to be non-essential, right? That's not where you want to be long-term if you're supporting your family. And so the idea that you really are in control of your life, you're in control of your career, you're in control of how much you make in the real estate industry. And while there are no guarantees, if you're on commission, you can do a whole lot better than being in a salaried position in many cases, and the rug will not be pulled out from under you. And so that's what we've found. Our people, the people that have regular jobs have found they've lost their job. People that have what might have been considered in the past as the instability of a commission sales, they've realized they have stability because the stability is inside. It's not based on what the manager or the employer gives you as stability. It's not based on the number of years of service. There are plenty of people that have worked for a company of 20 or 30 years. Well, if that company shuts down, they're down. And so the real estate industry really is an industry that has a lot of solid opportunities. And so, but right now, as far as people buying or selling, I mean, interest rates are in the 3s today. I mean, I know they change, but interest rates are in the 3s. You can get some interest rates below 3% again, 2.75 are some of the rates I've seen quoted today from our mortgage company. And so the opportunities are robust. And for us, I guess the last thing I'd like to say, and Lindsay can add to this if she'd like, I appreciate our staff, I appreciate our leaders, I appreciate our agents, I appreciate the customers, the clients, the community that have supported our company during this process as we have tried to provide support for everyone. It's been mutual. It's been a real win-win situation. And again, even the government leaders that have, nobody wanted to shut the economy down. It's not like one party wanted to shut it down and one party wanted to let everybody get sick. Everybody's been trying to do their best to figure out what to do in virtually an impossible situation. And so it's, I think I just give people credit that everybody's trying to do their best. And I appreciate Shelley, you and Bob today, shifting this away from coronavirus into what are things happening? What are the things that can happen? What are the things that can take place? And really shifting this to an optimistic viewpoint of, who are the ones that are out there that are still making it happen. And I appreciate being included.
What's the best way to get in contact if you're interested in becoming an agent, and or just knowing more about your about what it is you guys do, or there might be somebody who's a buyer or seller on here that needs to get in contact? What's the best way to do that?
Lindsay?
So obviously we've got our website at garrettrealtypartners.com. That is a huge resource as far as real estate information and recruiting information. And then we can always reach out to me directly, which is 757-285-6985. And on the website too, there's also a leaders page that is very easy to identify all the contact information. So everybody is, just a call, text, email away over here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Bob, lead us into a close.
All right. Thanks very much for being with us today, Greg and Lindsay. It was the most positive and upbeat one, although we've had several, but it was very positive and upbeat. And I appreciate you coming on today and taking time from what I'm happy to say is still a very busy schedule for you guys. So that's it. We'll see you at the next episode.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.